Hey guys, well look here, I finally have my studio. I've got things unpacked and out of the way, so now my studio is complete and whole. And in my studio I am going to be making my videos. I'm going to be doing my big mouth and my vlogs and my weight loss progress, which by the way, since this entire week I've lost a total of 4 pounds. Yay! And this is my wall of art. So like these over here, these are my paintings. I done these myself. This is the first one I painted right here, my husband, from a photo I took. My beautiful panda. And I love my flag. And this is my last one that I've done right here. Well, our last great one. This was my husband's grandmother. My husband, an old gentleman from a nursing home, my mother-in-law. This is my latest, which I wanted to scrap. I wasn't happy with it, so it's hid behind the door when the door's open. Another one from that gentleman from the nursing home, my mother-in-law, and that one's also my mother-in-law. And this is my plaque that I made, and it reads John 3:16. So today is the start of a new series that's going to be a part of my channel called Getting Creative with Paints. I believe that's what I'm going to title it anyway. I've been kind of playing around with the name for it. I might call it Let's Paint or My Creations with Paint or something like that. Something catchy. But anyway, yes, it's going to be a part of my series on my channel. Y'all's going to get to watch me paint. I always start with a base, which is most generally blue, because I do landscape and seascape. The painting up there that I did, I also painted my mother and father-in-law, and I painted my father-in-law individually, and I painted my husband when he was 3 years old, only I ended up making him look more like he is 10. So, I really don't do portraits, but I do love doing ocean and land. So we may do an ocean scene because I haven't done one for quite some time. So let's get started on that. These are my paints. The can is quite heavy. So I am going to find, now as you can see, because I don't have any colors out, you are going to watch me start from scratch. And that is how I operate. I don't take pre-colored canvases or nothing. They are all blank. My work is my work. I don't honestly copy anybody. This is all from my imagination. I might get an inspiration from like a still picture from the TV, but other than that, this is all my own. I'm kind of thinking about maybe doing a sunset. So A good one may would be like the light blue and the vermilion, and we'll go with a brilliant blue for the ocean, because you know with sundown it kind of darkens the waters a little. Let's see here, we need a lighter color. I don't think the light magenta would work. But yeah, we could use the Naples yellow. That would also blend. And we may do a little bit of a rock formation, so I'll go on ahead and get my ivory black for a background island. Let's see. That's that light magenta. In the end, I may end up having to get even more colors. But I've been able to work pretty well with the colors that I've got so far. Yes, we'll also work with a crimson. There we go. That will work. Alrighty. So we'll put the can out of the way up here. As you can see, I've got my rag, my water. Now this right here is a very excellent tool. It comes with this paper which holds the moisture in the paints so they don't dry out on you. And then you just, when it's loaded, throw it away. Just wad it up, throw it away. So this is my my paint palette. Kind of like my my paint palette. Anyway, and I've got tons of brushes here, so I am going to use my first brush here, which is this, and I'm going to use this to spread the board, which we are going to be starting with the light blue. I'm going to put these colors aside. And get a little dab here, which it usually takes quite a bit to do a larger canvas like this. Now, Bob Ross, he used oil paints, so therefore he used his red base coat, which helped it for him to be able to smear his paint and stuff. But I have tried the acrylic base coat and it still dries pretty fast, so it's really not worth it. So I just launch right into it and do what I can. Now, mind you, I did watch Bob Ross, and I never took a painting class before in my entire life. I just kind of took bits and pieces what I saw him do, what he talked about, and I took off from there. Now, if I had a regular painter's brush, you know, like a household brush, that would be so much better to do my face, but I don't, so I'm having to work like this, unfortunately. And it does wear my arm out to do the entire canvas like this. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to one other brush that I've got that's just a little bit more broad than this, so I can get this spread. I do have a sponge in here that may work a little better. I've never actually used it, so I may try the sponge and see how that works. Anything to get this done a little faster, because it takes a lot of work to cover these canvases, these large ones. I love working with them. I love working with the larger canvases, but they do really take up a lot of work. So let me get a sponge and see how much faster that works with covering. It might actually do better. We'll find out. The sponge came in a brush set from Big Lots. You can get all kinds of painters and craft, like sketching supplies from Big Lots. Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Matter of fact, it almost kind of gives it that sky effect too, so yeah. I'll be able to get this spread a lot easier with the sponge. I'll start using that whenever I go to spread my base color. A big difference. On one of these, I like every inch to be thoroughly covered. I'm funny like that, unfortunately. But yeah, the sponge is making a lot of difference here, because I can glump the paint on, and it spreads it a lot better. I don't know why I never thought of this before, but thank you guys for helping me think of it. One of my viewers told me that they considered my videos to be somewhat therapeutic. That means a lot to me. If I can help somebody some way, somehow, that means a lot to me. So hopefully watching me paint is therapeutic also. Now, normally I paint with music on, like my Christian radio station or something, but because this is going to be on YouTube, I don't want to get in trouble for copyright. So, and I was thinking about having my earphones on to do this. Now I might do that next time, but today, this is the first episode the first episode of the painting series. And I do so much painting, which I haven't painted for about 3 months, 4 months. Kind of went on a standstill with that one painting, and I just couldn't think of what else to do to it to improve it, so and then with us deciding to move, it definitely took me away from getting back at it. But on the whole part, I probably average a painting once every few months. It's according to if I've got any inspirations, or if I'm in the mood, or if I'm not actually busy. And that also reminds me, for those of you who don't know, our original cable company had discontinued our service here at the new place, even though my husband had ordered for it to just be transferred. And so they screwed it up and just discontinued it. And we didn't like the company anyway, so I ordered service through another company, and the service won't be available until Tuesday, late Tuesday. So right now I am running everything on LTE that's available through my phone carrier. And as it happens, I will not be doing any live stream whatsoever for the rest of this weekend. I attempted to do it yesterday, and it kept disconnecting on me. So next weekend all should be just well, and I'll be able to do my live streams once again on Saturday at 3:30, Sunday 4:30, Monday 3:30, all Central Time. So I'm very sorry about that for all of you who had been watching and rating my live streams. It's just because of that internet carrier and them screwing us over like that. But in a lot of ways, it is such a great thing that they did, because it forced us to go with an even better company that we've dealt with before. And the reason why that we didn't use them the first time when we came here to Waco is because the apartments that we had originally moved to said that we had to go with the one carrier or pay a penalty fee at the office to have the other. And so we went on ahead with what the office used to keep from paying an extra fee for, and we didn't like the company, not one bit. That was the first time we'd ever used them, and we didn't like them. Originally it was one company and it sold out to another, and the one that bought that company out, it failed miserably. So I was very, very happy to find out that the company that we had worked with before actually would cover this apartment. And me and my husband both jumped on that. Not to mention, it also brought the price down by around $10 per month just for internet, because we don't use cable and we don't use telephone. We only use internet. And it brought the cost down by around $10 by switching over to the other company, which happens to be a company that has always been so expensive. But in this case, it's actually cheaper than this other company that is lousy in its service. So yeah, I look forward to being able to do my live streams again. The only real problem that I'm going to have when I go to upload this video, because you know it doesn't take any internet whatsoever to record through your video on your camera, no problem, It's just going to take a little bit of time for me to get it uploaded up through my LTE, which the good thing about that is my phone company, the company that we bought the phones through, has given us unlimited data, so I don't have to worry about running out of data while trying to upload this video. So not all hope is lost. Matter of fact, in the end, everything's going to be so much better. Guys, this sponge has made a 90% difference in me spreading my initial paint. Why I never tried it before, I'll never know. But I guarantee you, from now on, this is how I'm going to be spreading my this is how I'm going to be spreading my initial colors, is with this sponge. Such a big difference. Big difference. So as you can see, we have got our base color, our sky, our ocean, all that. We are going to be doing the sunset. So, of course, you have to have your lighter skies up at the main top. The sun is pretty well going to be set down low. So we're not actually going to be painting the sun itself, just the brilliant colors that it creates at night before it completely goes down to the other side of the earth. So yes, this is going to be quite nice. Now mind you, I have got a color recipe book. I actually do, and I did try to make a color out of it using a recipe. But I like experimenting, so to speak. I'm one of these that's so stubborn to the point that I prefer to figure it out on my own. And so that's what I do with my paints. I work on figuring it out on my own. Okay, the stick isn't quite long enough for me to get down to the bottom and squeeze it out. So we'll have to do it like this, unfortunately. And these things are probably a dime a dozen, so, but hopefully I can spare it some. I've got more towels and rags to work with too, so. I have honestly finally gotten this place settled. Now a whole lot of the stuff where this is a smaller apartment from the other one is still in boxes, but it is properly placed in the closet, out of the way, stuff that we don't use on a day-to-day basis. So okay, so now let's go on ahead and I'm gonna make sure that's good and dry. I might go on ahead and use that other brush instead of the sponge, maybe. And there's still a whole lot of light blue in it. It is hard to get colors out of sponges, it is. Remember Mom using the sponges to paint for walls and stuff. Okay, so now we are going to use Brilliant Blue. Now I'm not sure if this has been opened. A lot of my paints I hadn't opened yet, so okay. Yes, it's been opened. Alright, so let's go on ahead and apply our Brilliant Blue for our darkening ocean. Sometimes it's good when the paint isn't quite dry yet, because then you can actually do some initial blending, and that really works out well. I used to think when I would watch Bob Ross with his work and they would show the close-ups and I wouldn't see what he was creating so well, but when it would do the further array look, then I could actually see it. And I would marvel at his work because I thought he was so awesome. And I'd seen other people paint. I tried to watch one person paint. And even though he was very good, I couldn't get into him. To me, Bob Ross was the most excellent that I'd ever been able to actually see work. Now, believe it or not, Bob Ross, for anybody who actually knows who Bob Ross is, he done paintings on PBS back in the 1980s. He was the man with the afro, with the quiet voice, always saying that we don't make mistakes but happy mistakes. And so, you know, very nice, gentle person. And I had watched a short on him. Believe it or not, before he started painting, he was a drill sergeant in the Army. And he had to raise his voice and talk down on the soldiers. And you know drill sergeants do. They get hateful. And when he got out of the Army, he said he would never talk hateful again. He would never raise his voice again. And you could tell it when he would do his work, when he would do his paintings. Sure enough, he never raised his voice. He was so gentle and quiet. And that afro was actually a perm. He had done that supposedly to make a statement that getting a perm was actually cheaper, which I don't understand how, but that was what he was trying to make a statement about. And it got to the point that he couldn't change his image, and he got tired of that afro, but he had to keep it because he had already set that up for himself. And he didn't want to change it and make a difference after him using it as a statement that you can go cheap with a perm. So he ended up keeping the afro. That was not his real style. He actually had straight hair because they showed a photo of him when he was a drill sergeant and it was straight. So go imagine that. The man that we loved to watch paint with the quiet, still voice, being a loud mouth drill sergeant. Hard to believe. About blew my mind. Yeah, he had a couple episodes where his son done a painting, and I only watched one episode where he did. And he's good. He's good like his dad, and he's a painting instructor. So, but still, I couldn't even get into his work. Not like I could Bob's. I greatly enjoyed watching Bob with his work. Tremendously. I had started watching him back in 1991, and I enjoyed so much of it. I always looked forward to when they would air his painting, and I would be on it, and I would imagine myself trying to paint like him. I could see myself trying to paint landscapes and oceanscapes like him. And I attempted to start painting once, but I couldn't afford the stuff at the time. So I'm here finally in 2014. I got a chance to start with a small starter kit. Had small tubes of paints, a couple brushes, and a couple flat canvases. And that's how I got started. And I enjoyed it so much. My husband, who at the time was just my boyfriend, me and him wasn't married yet, and he saw how much I enjoyed it, and so he talked to his mother, who happened to have been painting a lot at the time, and so she helped me. She gave me some paints, and he got me some canvases, and kind of took off from there. Now this last Christmas I was blessed, my mother-in-law blessed me with some money for Christmas, and I went straight to Michael's, the art and craft store, and I bought a whole mess of canvases and paints and my brushes and stuff. Some brand new brushes because my other ones was starting to get worn out. Now you see this, guys, with the spreading, as you can tell, it actually looks like a rippling water, as you can tell. Now you don't want your ocean to be solid. You don't want your waters to be solid. Which even your skies, you don't want them to be solid, because you know there's break in the colors, like with clouds and stuff. But the waters especially, you honestly want to keep those as loose as possible to give it that rippling effect. And I'm going to try to cut out these edges here by doing this. I'm not per se a perfectionist in a lot of things, but when it comes to things that I do, especially my creative work, I am. I prefer things to be perfect and spot on when I'm doing my creative stuff. It's got to be more precise. And I actually take that after my dad. If he's not satisfied with something, he'll get right back at it, and he'll keep working at it until he gets what he wants. Until he gets what he's imagining and seeing. He doesn't always complete his projects, but when he's working on them, he's a perfectionist. He used to lay cement. He worked at a cement plant, and when he would trowel that cement out, he would spend precious minutes on one spot that wasn't filling in properly until he had it just the way he liked it. I got the pleasure of helping him with some cement projects, especially after he was no longer working. Alright, now I am attempting to use the Naples yellow. Hopefully I'll be able to get this blended in pretty good. I'm not wanting it to be overpowering. So we'll figure it out as we go. We'll figure it out as we go. And I will tweak it around as necessary. Now, usually I try to throw clouds in, but I think this is going to be a cloudless evening, which would be the first time I would have painted something without clouds. just kind of blend this up here. I'll get my other brush out and do that and kind of get it blending upwards like. This brush right here is an awesome tool. I love this brush. As you can see, acrylics dry fast. They dry quickly. So any blending that you're going to do, you want to do it while they're still wet. And the thinner the paint, of course, the faster it's going to dry. So just kind of work with it here as we can. When I paint, I don't necessarily have a full idea. I just start with it. And then as I go, I see more and more what I can do with it, and I take off from there. Little things here and there that I'll see, well, like, okay, yeah, we could make it more like this. But that's all the fun of painting too, you know, because like, it's your creation, it's your imagination, it's what's coming out of you through your hands. And you know, it isn't anyone's business but your own how it turns out, if it's good or not. I mean, I have seen some of the ugliest paint, even from the famous painters of old, just really ugly work. But yet it has made millions and millions of money. Let's go on ahead and use this broader brush, and we'll just finish with the blending work instead of taking so long. There we go. Yeah, now we got some things going on here. Sometimes I find that when I haven't painted for a while, I am kind of forget how to do some things, but then it all comes right back to me as I get started. So yeah. When it comes to painting, I don't know that people actually ever completely learns, because you're always learning something new, I think. That's what I think. That's what I believe. That you're always learning something new. As you paint, as you go along, you're learning something new. Okay, now I'm just going to kind of run it up here toward the top. I'm going to be naming this one A Peaceful Sunset, unless of course I see something else out of it. But yes, that's going to be what I call it. That's what I'm going to name it, Peaceful Sunset. Now I'm going to go on ahead and leave this out, and I'm not going to change the color on it because I want the colors to kind of start blending as I go fading them. I've got a lot of videos to catch up on. I'm finally getting to watch them again, where I finally got things settled. So that's a wonderful thing right there. Okay, so the next color that we're going to be using is the vermilion. I don't know that I'd ever opened it. Apparently I had. So, alrighty then. I absolutely love the sheets that you can get for these, because honestly the mess is less, and when you do have it full, you just throw it away. It's so nice. And I'll show you here in a moment just how cool these papers are, how well they honestly work. And as you can see, I can go on ahead and blend it up into the yellow so that you've got your transition here. See that? Transitioning. Now we're going to bring this down just a little further here because we've still got another color to go in our sunset. But yeah, as you can see, it is blending and it is fading and transitioning here. With my painting segments, I'm not going to do very much editing because I do want you to see the changes, the transformation as it takes place, as it begins to form. So I'm not wanting to cut anything out. Maybe bits and pieces here and there, like when I do my base color, I might speed that up a little bit, kind of take a chunk out of that. But on the whole part, what you can see is going to be uncut. So hopefully as I yak my jaws off to you, it would be something fascinating that you enjoy to hear while I'm busy. Normally I don't talk when I paint, I just listen to my music. So this is kind of a small change for me, you know, doing it like this, like. But yes, and I can already tell I am going to absolutely love this one. I am going to love it. Let's go on ahead and we will bring this down just a little lower, and then we will start on our crimson. Now, what Some would actually argue that the sunset is reversed, that I should have put the darker colors up top and it brightening down at the bottom. But you know what? As I said before, these are our own creations and they can look however we want them to. If I wanted to draw what I imagined to look like Cloud9 with unicorns and flying pigeons and cupids and whatever, that'd be my business. It is whatever pleases us when we paint. It's what looks beautiful to us. Okay, once again, I'm going to leave that color on there. I'm not washing it off because we want it to blend. So now we are working with the crimson. Once again, we're going to let it bleed in and blend as it does its transition. So let's get that started here right next to the vermilion. And we'll start it blending up. Let's go on ahead and kind of get that blended through here. And I'm going to show you the little neat trick. Go ahead and get this spread on in. One of these times after that I have already gotten my service going so I can do live streams, I'm actually going to make some of my painting segments live. Not necessarily to watch the chats. I would have to do a replay and watch the chats later. So I don't know that I would be answering anybody or talking to anybody, but I would want you to see this live. I'm still yet to work out the plans for that one yet. It's not a complete plan yet. Okay, I'm going to kind of blend all this up here as well. And just kind of get all that in here. Here we go. Now look here, y'all. Okay, so we're going to place some of this into our waters. We're just blending it in. We don't want a whole lot of it in the water because, you know, then you won't have no water. So you want to use a little bit here. You just get a little bit blended in to your ocean here. Just a little bit. There we go. Now now we go on ahead to the next color here. And just blend that on in as well. We're running out of it, which is fine. Just kind of put that in. Trying to get the rest of this vermilion as much as possible because I'm out of the pile and I don't want to get any more of it. It would just be a waste. So I'm just getting what there is. This right here, this little mess right there, that happens to be where there was an extra red spot of the acrylic that hadn't dried yet, and it just happened to have done it. Now, we're not wanting very much of the yellow here, the maple yellow, because we want it to blend in very lightly. So, as you can see, doesn't take very much to actually make a lot. So I'm just thinning it out here, spreading it. We'll add just a little more to the other side here. Just a little more. There we go. Okay. So, alrighty. Okay, now we just take it and we just take it all together here, blend it all together, just run it, run it, run it, run it, run it. I'm going to head back over top here. Just continue to run it like so there. We'll add a bit more of the vermilion, which, like I said, I'm out of. We're going ahead and run a little bit more of that into the maples, yellow. And just kind of Now, the other really awesome thing about being able to paint like this, if there's something that you don't like, you can actually use a darker color that won't blend through and put something over top of it to make it up. Go on ahead and add a little bit of the crimson in and just kind of blend that. Kind of make it look like the ocean is on fire on the edge there. Has anybody ever watched the Pirates of the Caribbean? World's End. Remember the the sailor's myth that at sunset the earth catches on fire. Well, that's what we're creating here. It's kind of like that sailor's myth that at sunset the earth catches fire. Now, as we can see here, more or less I probably added more than I should have, which is okay. It's perfectly okay. Because, you know, I still think it's pretty. And it is going to look very lovely hung up. It is. It's going to look very lovely hung up. So I'm going to add more of the Naples here. I mean, you know, there's all kinds of different colors on the waters anyway, and they don't truly reflect the colors as what you see in the sky. So, you know, but it is a beautiful sight to see that reflection in the waters as the sun goes. It is, it's a beautiful sight. I've gotten the pleasure of seeing it myself. And it is, it's beautiful. I'd say a lot of yous have gotten the pleasure of seeing that. Okay, so there we are. Got a little bit here of the reflection of the skies. Okay, now, as I'd said, I was going to paint an island in the background. So that is what I'm going to be doing now. And that is where my precision brush comes in handy. So the brush that I had originally started to use to apply the sky is going to be what I will be using to create the island. I try not to leave too much paint residue in my paints because honestly, well, later on you regret. Seriously. Okay, so this is ivory black. This is the brush I'm going to be using right here. So we'll kind of pull it out. We'll bring it out about here. Now, as you know, when the light is behind something, you don't really get a full color spectrum because it creates shadow. So that is the reason why the island is black, because what light there is left is behind it. me just fill that in. As you can see, you really can't tell where the base of the island is. Almost like the Black Lagoon, or the Blue Lagoon rather. You only see it in the distance, you don't see it up close. And we're going ahead and kind of bring it out so that it's going into the water. Kind of bring this out a little more here. As we know, land mass is never perfect. You've always got your little feet and whatnots rinsing the waters. So, here we go. Blend that through here so that, there we go, because we don't want no solid edges, we want it all going into the water. There we go. Just like that. Perfect. Yeah. Spread out here because we've got that clump of paint. Okay. Now I'm going to use a more precision type brush, and I'm going to be putting out like little trees and whatnot. This here might be a little bit too thick. We want it to be just a little bit smaller of a precision brush. I don't want it too awful thick. So here is the brush I'm going to use. Okay. So we'll kind of put a we'll add a little bit more bush to the top here instead of it looking so. We won't believe that there's really good plant life on this island, you know. So there we go. And put like a little bush here. Put another tree right back here. We'll kind of have this one like reaching up toward the sky, like. Quite satisfied with the trunk on this one, so we'll kind of broaden it out a little. We'll make the top just a little bushier too. Yeah, there we go. That's better. That's better. Another little bush like here. Okay, so we do want to add a little bit of color to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out a brown for the base of the island. Wall umber should do just fine. And I'm going to be using a little bit of, we'll use a hint of sap green. That way we can do just a little bit of highlighting. Now mind you, we're not going to be doing very much at all, because it would seriously ruin the effect of the sunset. So, and just a hint of the umber just a hint. We don't need much at all. The good thing is the umber is very dark, so it won't be showing that much. So we'll just kind of put it here along the edge of the island. Here we go. Because we just need a little hint. There, we don't need a whole lot into it. There we go. Not a whole lot. Okay, now I'm going to take the sap green and I'm going to do the same thing to the top of the brush of the trees, and just a little bit of a hint on the tips. That way there's just a little bit of a touch of the sunset just barely lighting up the edges. Okay, so we'll apply a little bit through here. Because remember, this is all in the background, so we don't need it to necessarily show all the way on it. We just want, like, basically the top highlighted, so to speak. We go about like that, and then we're just kind of blend it a little here, blending just a bit, but not to the point that's overpowering, and you can see, you know. So there we go. A little hint in the brush, like this. Tips here. And we're going ahead and use that here. And we're going ahead and blend that just a little. And just a hint here on this little one over here. Doesn't take very much at all. It's a little bit more exposed. Okay, so what I'm going to do for that, I'm going to add just a hint of the ivory black, because I'm not wanting it all to be shown like that. So we'll just kind of bring that up in there. There we go. Here we go. Yeah, there we go. Just like that there. Alrighty. Yep. I think I'll apply just a little bit more of the umber down here on the point just a little bit more. And just to finish highlighting that part. Here we go. Okay, so here we have it, y'all. There we have it, a peaceful sunset. And I had great pleasure making this. Yeah, I'm going to take care of this edge a little bit over here. I don't know how in the world it did that. I didn't even see that. Anyway, like I said, when it comes to my arts and crafts, I'm a perfectionist. I'd rather it look a little better. But I'm not wanting it to be like overpowering, so to speak. Anyway. So yeah, that's the title. That's what I'm naming my painting, Peaceful Sunset. And I did have very much pleasure in painting this. Like, you know, and I hope that it wasn't too boring for you to watch, or the pointless little things I talked about. Hope it them boring. And this is what I seriously, truly love doing. I love painting. I'm a painter. I love painting. It might not be masterpiece, but I enjoy it, and I hope you all enjoyed watching. And I love you all. Thank you so much to my brand new subscribers. I have noticed my numbers are coming up, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Every single one of you who has subscribed to me, and thank you from the bottom of my heart. I love yous. And so until next time, bye.